So, a Montreal clinic for children announced that it's going to be closing on Friday. It all happened rather suddenly and it caught a whole lot of parents off guard. It's called the Children's Clinic. It's located right next to the Glen, and they announced this on Facebook late last night. They've been open since 2015, and the goal was to divert less complex patients away from the Montreal Children's Hospital. So, CTV News Montreal reporter Rob Lurie has been on this story, and he joins us now. Thanks for your time, Rob.
Hi, Natasha.
So this sudden closure, I understand, is due to bankruptcy?
Well, so yes, that is the short answer. Is according to the MUHC, it is because it's not run by the MUHC. The MUHC is the landlord; it owns the building and rents the space out to Brunswick Medical, which runs this clinic. Now, I spoke to Vince Trevisono, who is the CEO of Brunswick Medical, and he said that what happened was they were doing well, and then the pandemic hit, and their patient traffic went down from 1,200 patient visits a week to about 600, and it never recovered from there. And offices like this, they still have to pay the rent. They still have a lot of other expenses that they have to pay. And it was explained to me that these types of clinics, we don't like to think of it as that, but they are businesses like any other business, and they need to do what they can to keep it going. So knowing how important this clinic was to, like you said, to divert people away from the emergency room, I said, I asked Trevisono, was there ever any talk with the MUHC of lowering the rent so that they could keep it going? And there was some talk, but it never went very far because they were in so much financial trouble that they owed somewhere between $1 million and $1.5 million in back rent. Wow. And at the end of the day, it was just unsustainable.
Oh, boy. Okay, and I understand that on their website, they have posted a list of where patients can now go. What's happening on that front, Rob?
Yeah, well, so this has been in the works for quite a while, and that's one of the surprising things, that they knew that this was happening ever since the summer. There were talks about it. They knew that Brunswick was in a precarious financial position. So a lot of the doctors have been relocated, some within the same building, because there are other clinics in that building. But some are further away. Some of them are going to be in the West Island. Some of them are going to be in clinics on Queen Mary or on Côte des Neiges. So it is a bit of an inconvenience for a lot of parents who really liked using that place or could go there before they went for another appointment at the MUHC. It's a little bit of a messy situation for them, and I can tell you they do not like learning about this through Facebook. They thought that they would have learned by other channels. A lot of people told us they learned by turning on the news.
Yeah, it's all been very unsettling and stressful. We're about to speak to a couple of parents affected by it. Thank you so much, Rob. That is CTV News Montreal reporter Rob Lurie. Let's go first to Kelly MacDonald, who has a 10-year-old who is now being relocated, or whose doctor is being relocated. So, Kelly, tell us a little bit about your situation.
Hi. Last evening I was just kind of scrolling through Facebook, as Rob was just saying, and came across the post that the clinic was closing to our surprise. Never thought that would happen. We had no communication from the clinic whatsoever other than this post. So, of course, panic kind of set in, and, what are we going to do? What's happening to our doctor? Are we still going to have access to her? Where is she going? It was all just kind of like a major shock. So I immediately sent an email to the clinic, and only this afternoon did I receive a message back telling us that our doctor would actually be relocated to a Queen Mary clinic.
Okay, and is that going to be okay for you? Is that inconvenient? Aside from being stressful.
It is somewhat inconvenient. I mean, to be honest, I live pretty close to the current clinic, and it's nice because you have parking, you're close to public transit, you're close to the hospital, everything was right there. Now, this new clinic, it's further away. I don't believe there's parking, from what I can see on the maps. I'm not familiar with the area that much, so it is a bit of an inconvenience.
It's the unknown, right? I mean, that's the thing. Yeah. And the way that you had to find out about it. I'm glad nonetheless that you know that she will still be able to see her doctor at another clinic. Thanks, Kelly. I want to go to Lisa Fiset now, who is actually a former CTV and CJAD 800 journalist. Nice to speak with you again, Lisa. What's your situation?
Well, thank you very much for having me. My son has been followed at the clinic since 2015. He sees an ophthalmologist there. And like everybody else, I found out on Facebook last night that the clinic was closing. Our situation is a bit different. We're seen approximately every 3 months at the ophthalmology clinic. I actually found our ophthalmologist's email address at the MUHC, and I emailed him this morning, and he still doesn't have a clinic. He's waiting to figure out what his next move is going to be. So for us, we're going to be hanging in limbo. When I did call the ophthalmology clinic this morning, there's an automated message just directing people in case of emergency to go to the children's. And clearly my child doesn't need to go to the children's to be seen by an ophthalmologist. It's not an emergency. It's regular visits for an eye issue. But right now, he needs to be seen in the next month or so, and we don't know what's going to happen with that.
And the whole...
go
on.
I was going to say, in that respect, that's very stressful, the not knowing.
Oh, I'm sure. And I'm just thinking the whole point of this clinic in the first place was to divert patients exactly like your son so they didn't have to go to emergency and to the Montreal Children's Hospital. So for the time being, you're in limbo. You just wait and cross your fingers and hope that your child will be able to be seen by his doctor.
I'm hoping. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. The ophthalmologist said that he would be in touch. I'll probably email him again. I'm not going to lie. I'll probably keep on top of it because, my child is used to this doctor. We were used to the clinic. It's out of the way. We live on the West Island, but it kept us out of the children's because the wait list to see an ophthalmologist at the children's is very long. And again, he's non-urgent, but he's been followed for almost 8 years now. So this is something that we definitely want to follow up on. And I'm hoping that we're able to continue seeing the same doctor who's familiar with my son's case and, is familiar with my child.
Yeah.
I'm hearing this about a clinic closing, and I'm trying to think, had we heard a story about something like this as well, having closed recently because of, I know Queen Elizabeth closed down, but I don't think it had anything to do with that.
To me, it's very interesting to hear that the doctors were finding out at the same time, like
right.
Lisa's doctor. Yeah, and that they knew about this since the summer. Lisa, can I just ask for a quick reaction to that, to hear Rob Lurie say that this has been in the works since the summer, and yet you found out in this way?
For me, honestly, that was a shock. We were there in the fall. We were told to book an appointment in January for February. So there was really no inkling that this wouldn't be a possibility for us. I do have to say I was listening to Rob earlier, and 100% the traffic from what we've seen had decreased significantly. It used to be you'd go to the clinic and be prepared to wait a little bit, and the last 3 or 4 visits we were seen immediately, and there was fewer children, fewer families in the waiting room. In my mind, that was great. COVID, they're being really careful and giving a little bit more time between appointments, but what Rob said really made sense, and it really struck a chord with me because I've definitely seen fewer people at the clinic.
And now we know what it's led to. Thanks so much for your time, Lisa.
Thanks for having me.
That's Lisa Fiset. We heard also from Kelly MacDonald, and we spoke earlier to Rob Lurie of CTV News.
Got a feeling this story is not over.
I think
Something's
so,
going
yeah.
on here. For doctors to find out that late in the game, something's going on. Mm-hmm.